So I
right?
guess the lessons to learn from this maybe is that we as consumers, as people who pay for Netflix, as people who buy tickets to go to the movies, maybe we shouldn't do this anymore. We gotta send a message to Hollywood. We don't need old stuff rehashed. Hello and welcome to the Brothers Random Show. My name is Travis,
I'm Michael.
and we are two ordinary brothers discussing extraordinary ideas and some random shit. Michael, where are we here?
Well, we went and saw Gladiator 2, and today we're going to talk about it.
I remember that day. I never forgot it. That a slave could take revenge against an emperor.
Where were you born?
I don't know. I never knew a mother nor a father.
You will be my instrument.
Who are you?
Did you hear that crowd? The greatest temple Rome ever built. The Colosseum. Because this is what they believe in. Power.
Needless to say, it was an unneeded sequel, but let's get into it.
Yes, that is the understatement of this movie, is that it was needless. This Gladiator, if you've been watching, Michael and I have been doing lead up to this with going over the original Gladiator starring Russell Crowe.
We had Logan Brown, our nephew, come on and review it. We did 2 episodes. This is going to come out in between those 2 episodes. It seems odd that we reviewed the original Gladiator and now we are talking about the sequel because the original was so good and this was so poor.
Yes. So, agreed. It is. We had the opportunity to go together. We were both traveling in the same city, and so we went and decided to see it together. Yeah, this movie is such a colossal disappointment. Not even a disappointment. I didn't want this movie to happen.
We kind of knew that it was. I mean, going into it, I kind of knew that it was going to be a disappointment. So I was trying to kind of give it the benefit of the doubt.
Mm-hmm.
There were just so many times I was kind of like, I want to like this movie, but but I never kind of did.
That's a perfect explanation of it, because it's the movie that we wanted to like, but it just didn't even, the comparisons, people say don't compare it to the older movie. It's like, but that's what it's doing itself by being a sequel.
It's doing it itself also because it kept giving a tip of the hat. It kept having Easter eggs of the original.
The opening sequence has scenes from the original movie. So it's like, it is inviting comparison, and it is a far inferior film, like by miles.
I mean, and basically all the best lines, all the best moments, all had something to do with the first one.
Yes.
So it doesn't stand on its own. It may have been a better film if they didn't make it a sequel and just kind of made it its own movie. But even then, the script falls apart. It wasn't strong. Like,
well, but before we get too far into this, we should probably say it was directed by Ridley Scott, the original director of the first one, and the man that used to be one of my favorite directors. It stars Connie Nielsen, Paul Mescal, Denzel Washington, and Pedro Pascal. And Pascal. This movie is not. It's not good. If
you want to be entertained, and if you can let go of the old one, you can go see this, and on some level, you're probably going to be entertained. There were some entertaining aspects of it, and we can get into some of the story and
let's
stuff.
let's just do spoilers right now. One of the glaring issues with this movie is that Paul Mescal is not the charismatic actor that Russell Crowe is. He just isn't.
They tried to make him something that he's not. That was my big thing. See, he didn't need to be a Maximus character. He didn't need to be Russell Crowe, but they kept trying to make him be. That was the thing. They tried to make him have weight with all these men, to lead these men. These men started to naturally gravitate to him and stuff, which are all things that worked really well in the original. Whatever reason, Russell Crowe just had a gravitas about him that from within a few minutes of him being a general and leading his army in the first film, we already were strapped in. This guy, he is competent and he knows his shit. Like we're strap in. This guy is a leader of men.
From the very beginning, you do not see that in Paul Mescal.
Yeah,
like there's a moment where he tries to do this, like he
little speech for his men.
Yeah, a little speech for his men at the beginning,
and it falls flat.
It falls
I'm just
so
like,
flat.
I'm not. I don't think I'd want to follow you into battle.
There were two good things about this movie, I think, if I can even say that. The first scene where the ships come in, go up against a wall.
Yeah.
With ships, and they
like the wall of the city. They're sieging this city.
Yeah.
And the Roman ships come in.
It was
cool.
It was a pretty cool scene. I was kind of going, oh, this might be good. That kind of made me go, oh, hey, maybe this isn't as bad as I think it's going to be. And then they have the scene, afterwards where he's crying over his dead wife, and you're like, we barely knew her, we don't know anything about her, we don't really care. And see, it was
bizarre to me because it was the same way in the first one. In the first one, we didn't know his wife, we didn't know his kid, but for whatever reason, when you saw that his wife and kid in the first one died, we were bought in. Like we were.
What were they missing about this moment versus the moment where with Maximus in the original? What's the difference? I think it's the actor.
It must be. We had moments where he's talking about his wife and child with Marcus Aurelius. Maybe that had something to do with it.
Yeah, maybe.
Right. He wants to go home.
In the original, yeah.
But then they try to mirror that a little bit with Pedro Pascal's character, where he's the general, he's the Roman general, and he carried a little bit more gravitas. I'll give Pedro Pascal that, but not
by much. Like his everybody's motivations are really like watered down. I don't know what the explanation is. Like, you don't really get why the Roman emperors are assholes and weird and
well, it's all full of holes too, because it just asks us to accept that after the death of Maximus, even though he told the Praetorian Guard to reinstate, it kind of
the Senate reinstate
the Senate. It kind of just like, we take it for granted that in the beginning of this film, there's two emperors that are ruling together, that are brothers. With whose kids are they? We don't. I mean, how did these guys get into power? Like, why are these
why are they psychotic? Like, they're psychotic.
You just kind of have to take. It's like, all right, that's how it is, and just take it and just accept it.
I got so much sympathy for people who make movies, because it is really hard to make a movie, like really, really hard. But to me, it feels like Ridley Scott has had a few things he's always wanted to put on film. One of them was a siege from ships to a wall ashore, I think you always wanted to do that, and you got to do it in this movie. And the other one was to have a rhinoceros in the Colosseum, a fight with a rhinoceros, and that was really
that kind of
really underwhelming. It was a really underwhelming scene.
Like it was they teasered that a bunch, in previews and stuff, and then it was just man. It like really just didn't carry a lot of weight.
Yeah, it didn't carry a lot of weight, and that's the issue with this movie is that I think the studio. Okay, so this is the same studio that put out Top Gun Maverick, and they're going, we made billions off of Top Gun Maverick. What other properties do we have that we
this can is just a cash grab? Yeah, this 100% cash grab. What do we got that's an IP that we have that we think we can make a bunch of money on?
Yes.
Oh, we got this thing that we made and it was really popular and it's got a cult following and men love it. It's Gladiator. Let's do that.
Yes.
Seriously, that is exactly how this felt. And it just, as I was watching it, I was just like, man, cash grab. Like
absolutely.
That's what this is.
Okay. So one of the first fight scenes, there's a fairly good fight scene at the beginning with the siege of the walled city. Then there's a fight scene with monkeys and CGI monkeys, and I was just like, what are we doing here? Like, this is true.
They look like zombie. They kind of look like
they looked like zombied monkeys.
You know? It was kind of crazy.
It was just bizarre. And I'm just sitting there going, so the original Gladiator had real scenes with real tigers, with a combination of stunt doubles and dummy tigers and the actual actor being close to some of those tigers. Like Russell Crowe got close to those tigers. That had a sense of realism that this movie is completely lacking. And and not that I want actors to be in danger, but we must feel like they might be in danger. If you make a movie with a bunch of CGI and we know that it's CGI, like the best CGI is the CGI that we have no idea. Like when Batman Begins, all the bats in that movie are all CGI and you have no idea. You think that they're actually bats flying around him.
Yeah.
They're not. They're CGI bats, and you have no idea that they're CGI. And that's the point to CGI. Don't let it reference itself by being so over the top that these things can't actually happen. So they didn't get a real rhinoceros. They didn't get real monkeys. Yeah, that's fine. But here's the thing: Ben-Hur. You remember the chariot race in Ben-Hur, right? It's a 19. Yeah. I forget when that movie came out. It was like 61 or something like that. 59.
It was probably filmed in the 50s. It was probably 59 or something.
It took them 5 weeks to shoot that. Chariot scene. 5 weeks for like a 20-minute chariot scene. And every single thing that happens in that is real. There is no CGI. There's no effects. There's like no.
They do their best with the effects, but it's all practical effects,
and it's riveting because Charlton Heston is actually driving this chariot. You can see him driving it, so there's a certain amount of realism that you have to be asking your audience, and people are adverse to actors being in danger, I guess, but that's one of the reasons we like the Mission Impossible movies. Is it looks like Tom Cruise is actually risking his life for the entertainment. And that's what's so disappointing about this movie is there's so much CGI that you're just going, nobody's in danger. And you don't really care. You don't find yourself caring about any of the characters.
And I would have been the CGI it was just another part of the whole that I didn't like. So there's just the CGI, but then also there's the script, and then there's just them trying to be stoic, and they like even bring up stuff. They kind of
they bring up meditations. Like
they bring up meditations, the book, which wasn't even a book.
At the time, I could imagine what had happened is Marcus Aurelius died, and then some cleric probably found his writings and thought they were so good that he probably passed them around as friend. So, I mean, there's a possibility, but it wouldn't have been known as meditations. You don't reference
but they were trying to be stoic. Like it was so on the nose. It drove me insane. They're like quoting poetry, and they're quoting stoic philosophers, and I know what they're doing. They're trying to be stoic like the first one, but it's just so on the nose.
And then there's like an actual reference to Spartacus in it at one point. The Paul Mescal character is getting like accused of something, and the other gladiators all say that it was them. And I'm like, that's directly from Spartacus.
Yeah, it was.
It's like I am Spartacus moment. It's like, I mean, Ridley Scott is he deserves respect because he's made some amazing movies.
Yeah,
his last 3 movies have been shit, like absolute shit. Like Napoleon was shit, The Last Duel was shit, this was shit. His last 3 movies have been shit. And I don't know if it's old age. He's 87 or 86, somewhere around there.
Yeah, probably. The other thing, and I want to give credit where credit is due. The only character that I was interested in was Denzel Washington's character in this film.
And that's a testament to a good actor, I think. Like, you're right. He's the only character that you want to kind of get back to.
I seriously found myself, I was just like, when are we going to see Denzel again? Like, what's Denzel up to? What's he doing?
And he's phoning it in because he's not even doing an accent. Like he's got a New York accent still. Like,
but
what was his direction? Like, I wonder, like, does he know that he's in a period drama? Like, I don't like,
which still like that, but that is still my favorite character in the film.
Yeah, it definitely.
With all that, he's still my favorite character in the film.
If you are desiring to be back with that character, then that's the most charismatic character, right? And it's bad when your lead doesn't have enough charisma to outshine the villain in their charisma. It's a big issue.
Which, I mean, to the credit of the first one, Commodus and Maximus, Joaquin Phoenix and Russell Crowe
really play off of each other really well.
Of each other brilliantly. Yeah.
As much as I like Denzel Washington, it would have probably played better had they gotten a younger actor to play that role. Because that would mean that at the end, when there's an actual fight scene between the two of them, it wouldn't have been
the fight scene between the two of them.
Like Denzel, how old is Denzel?
Rough.
68
oh yeah, he's old. It's just
or something like that.
It's like, let's have a sword fight scene with like an old senator type, and
this young 20, 25
who's like
year
undefeated in the Gladiator arena. It's just like, oh geez,
oh my gosh,
yeah. There were so many holes. There's a power play that's going on, which I think was the best, like, switch, if you will, was when you kind of realize that Denzel Washington's character, you realize is trying to take over the empire, which once you're kind of like, oh, okay.
I see where, okay,
cool. Yeah, like
that
was like the one moment where I was just like, oh, okay, that's interesting, But that was about, and then pretty soon you're just like back to, oh my gosh. On our episode with talking about the first one, Logan kind of told us about the Praetorian Guard, and apparently the Praetorian Guard was a force to be reckoned with, and whoever led the Praetorian Guard was
kind of in charge of the city, was
quite the power player.
Mm-hmm.
And so, But they talk about the Praetorian Guard, but you never really get to know the leader of the Praetorian Guard. Like
that would have been a juicy avenue to go down rather than do all the BS with the two
emperors.
I think one of them had syphilis and the other one was just psychotic. Like I don't like there was something wrong with them.
They make a comment saying that leads to think, the disease on his loins is going to his head,
is affecting his head.
Affected his head.
It's stuff like that. Just poorly done. But
they were just annoying.
They were annoying.
Is like they just drove me crazy. Anytime they were on the screen, I'm just like, can somebody kill these guys? Just kill them. Just like
they were obnoxious.
That would have been the most.
Well, and I think he was going so. There were emperors of Rome who were like this. Like Caligula was famous for this, and Nero were both famous for being really degenerates.
I think that the one, not the younger one, the shorter one, but the other one, it did seem like they were probably playing like a Nero type of,
or Caligula. Caligula was known for being he was a psychotic emperor.
Then they want the army to come in, the military to come in and support the general, Pedro Pascal, to take over Rome and restore Rome to its a dream that was Rome.
Yeah,
they kind of play with that a little bit.
Play with that from the old one, from the original Gladiator, the 2000 version.
Yeah, but the script was so full of holes. So half the time I didn't know even what was going on. It's like,
well, and to go back to Ridley Scott getting what he wanted to do, I think he always wanted to have an army marching on Rome. I always wanted to shoot that. So
that was
because that was supposed to happen in the original one, along with the fight scene with the rhinoceros in the Colosseum was supposed to happen in the original one. Both of those got cut because of budgetary issues. And I'm sure that this was like the studio going, do what you want.
Yeah.
And that's what it feels like. It feels like
he wanted to do these things.
Yes, he wanted to do these things, and they're all kind of contrived. You get Denzel Washington's character's motivation. He wants to become emperor. And
maybe you can remember, why did he kill Lucilla?
I don't know. Because of script reasons.
He's bad? Because he's bad?
Because he's bad.
It was so bizarre.
It was
like,
so
takes and like vengefully, like he was mad at her or something. So maybe there's a cut scene where he's mad at her or something.
Ridley Scott is well known for having extensive director's cuts that improve the movies. Like I don't know if this movie's salvageable with the director's cut. Famously, Kingdom of Heaven was a dumb theatrical cut, and when they released the director's cut, it was perfect. It was like a perfect movie. It was like a way better movie. He added like 40 minutes. So famously, there's that possibility. Now, this might have put such a bad taste in people's mouths that they don't want a director's cut, because that's what happened with Napoleon. He released a director's cut on Apple TV Plus, and as far as I know, nobody's watched it. I don't know one person that's watched it. So I don't know if it's redeemable, because it is this thing that like this. It's like the studio wanted to recapture Maverick's like success, and this fell very, very short. Like, and what I was trying to say is, I think he had all these ambitions for the original one, and they said, go do what you want. And he went, and I was going to get with the motivations. So I understand Denzel Washington's motivation. I understand Pedro Pascal's motivation, but the lead, his motivations change 3 times in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Like
he hates Rome, and he wants to kill
and he's
Romans.
mad at his mother and for betraying him and his father,
leaving
and
him. But like, I mean, but then he's like, but then he loves Rome and he wants to die for Rome, or he would die for Rome.
yeah. It's like, what is going on with this guy's motivation? His motivations change at least twice and maybe even three times in this movie without a barely anything, like barely any. And I get you can have characters change, but characters' motivations need to resonate with the audience so that you
Yeah,
can
like,
stay
I mean,
invested in what they're doing.
yeah, exactly. I mean, there was a little bit of a change in Maximus. Russell Crowe, he's out for revenge on Commodus in the first one. But then you start to see that he's like, maybe I need to do something about reinstating the Senate.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because he rejects Lucilla's
Original plan.
yeah, he rejects her, and then he kind of comes to, and he's like, okay, I'll see
She
your
talks him into it.
politician.
So
Yeah, so it just, but
it's a testament of the actor. Paul Mescal is not a good actor. He might be a good actor. Like, I haven't seen him in anything else, but in this, like, it's you don't understand his motivations. He doesn't have the same charm that Russell Crowe had. He's definitely not got. It's almost like he's like the Gen Z version of Maximus, which is far inferior.
Yeah, I almost laughed, but I kind of stopped myself from laughing at the very, very end because it has the Lucius character, and he's by where his mom passed away, and then did he even say, I can't remember if he even said anything, but then it cuts to Maximus in the wheat field, and that's the end. And I was just like, wait, why? Why did you just cut to the hand?
Yeah, the hand on the wheat.
The wheat. I was just like, wait, what? It was just so bizarre to me that they just cut to that.
Because he doesn't die, because the character doesn't die. In the main character doesn't die, and it's like, instead they killed off Lucilla, which was a mistake. They should have kept her alive. They should have had Paul Mescal's character die, and he gets to be with his wife, because they kept showing his wife getting on the boat for the river, crossing the river Styx, which again is a different take, I guess.
I mean, did you like that, or did, like, when he first, so there's and I liked how in the first one they kind of play with this theme of death. It's like, okay, is he dying? Is he not? Is he going into the afterlife, kind of thing? And
it worked. It worked a way better in that one than this one.
And this one, it's a little bit more on the nose. So it shows his wife from the beginning. He's like dreaming or something like that, and it shows him look, and he sees his wife getting on the boat with the
ferryman. It's the ferryman.
Yeah, the ferryman. So yeah, I mean,
for the river Styx, it's a legendary thing. It's not. It's obviously
crossing the river. Yep.
Yeah.
So it's Greek and then Roman adopted or something like that.
Yeah, something along those lines.
So at first I wasn't. I wasn't liking it. I was like, come on, guys, no. But then I mean, maybe
if it had paid off, if he had died at the end and it had paid off, and he gets on the ferry and he goes across the river and he hugs her or whatever, that would have been a payoff.
Maybe a payoff, but they had it, and then they didn't. Nothing to it.
Well, there's nothing to it.
He saw his mother.
So I thought this. So I was so disappointed with this, that at the end, when he goes to grab the sand from the Colosseum right at the end, I thought I thought he was going to dig up the figurines from the original movie.
Oh my gosh.
Could you imagine if that had happened? I would have been like, what? Like, I thought that was going to happen.
So
I was so like disappointed.
It would not have been out of character for this film.
Because
it was so random.
They reference everything from the first one. They keep referencing. They use lines. Okay, so before we go, there was a fight about 2 weeks ago, between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. It was one of the most disappointing boxing matches I've ever seen. And it was terrible. And why they decided to do it, it just made you wonder why they decided to do it. And I'm feeling the same way about this movie.
Cash grab. Yeah. So just
they did not need to do this. They did not need to.
Tyson, it was a cash grab.
It was a cash grab for them,
for the fighters, as well as probably everyone
involved. Like Netflix.
I'm sure a lot of people made a ton of money.
So I guess the lessons to learn from this maybe is that we as consumers, as people who pay for Netflix, as people who buy tickets to go to the movies, maybe we shouldn't do this anymore. We gotta send a message to Hollywood, to the people that are doing, like, we don't need old stuff rehashed new.
But at the same time, you get Top Gun Maverick, and that was awesome.
Well, see, that's what keeps them doing it.
So you're saying don't go to, if there's something like Top Gun Maverick, don't do it. Like, just
stop going to it. We need
stop going, even if it's good. Don't go, because then we're encouraging them to keep rehashing. Yes. I don't know. Eventually, they're gonna run out of stuff to rehash, I think.
But they're not. They're just spitting it out. Like, this past year, Michael, there was a Ghostbusters movie that I didn't bother seeing.
Oh yeah. Sure. Well, but it probably wasn't good either.
I know, but that's the point, is that I don't think Hollywood is just broken, man. Yeah, what a disappointment, man. Like, I knew it was going to be bad. I just didn't think it would be this bad.
Yeah, I had pretty low expectations, and it
met those expectations and went further.
Well, I felt like, because I love the first one so much, even from the very beginning, I was being very, very critical of it. I was just like, nope. But at the same time, I also felt myself trying to like it.
Would this have been a better movie had it not been a sequel to an already great movie?
Honestly, I think it still would have sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm trying to be like
generous,
just trying to be generous. Yeah, exactly. But I don't think even then, I don't think I would have really liked it. I mean, yes, they filled the Coliseum with water, but then sharks. What? I mean, just
like, who catches
that.
The sharks to put in the water? like how does that even work?
No, I hate to be that slave. All right, you're the one. You got to grab a shark and let's get it into the Coliseum. It's our job. We got to do it. Like,
Audience, check us out on social media, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just look for The Sword in the Skull. If you are listening to this and not watching it, please go to YouTube and like, share, and subscribe. That helps us with our algorithms. In the meantime, keep reading, keep listening, keep watching, learn more. We'll talk to you later, brother.
See ya.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?